Southwest Freeway is moving along pretty nicely, huh?
It is, and welcome back. So, ending the summer and starting the new school year can bring along some much added stress for parents.
Yeah, it's not just all about the kids. Parents go through a lot of stuff, whether you're sad about an empty home now that the kids are back in class, or if you're trying to develop a more balanced schedule. Dr. Viviana Coles is here to discuss how to beat those back-to-school blues. Hey, Viviana.
Hi there.
How are
and I'm
you?
glad that you mentioned it doesn't happen to everyone, but there are some people who really freak out once the school year is back
yeah.
in session. They don't know who they are or what they're going to do. Other people are partying, and that's great. But
It happened to my mom. My mom, when the school year would start, she'd be like, honey, are you feeling sick today? Do you want to stay home?
Are you sure you're okay?
Are you sure you're okay?
wanna
You
go
can stay home with me. So a lot of people go through this, even if everyone does not. So when does someone know, that they need maybe help or they need to devise a plan?
I think it's when they find themselves reaching out a little too often to the school for volunteer opportunities. Maybe they're going to lunch with their children every day. They're counting down the minutes and the seconds until the kids let out and dismissal time is coming around. Those are the people that I'd love to encourage them to find out what really makes them tick as a person. That time when your kids are away at school is the perfect time for you to get back in touch with who you are so that you can be the best person in your family for others.
So this is a real thing. Like, I would think you've been with these kids for the entire summer, and now it's time for them to go spread their wings and be living their best life.
Megan, are you a parent, by the way?
No, I'm not. How could you
you're
tell?
not. No, I'm just wondering. So you'd be the one excited to have them.
Yeah, one of my favorite commercials is that Staples commercials where the mom is like zipping through the aisles because she's like, school's back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. It can be very exciting.
Okay.
But there are some people whose identity is so wrapped up in being a parent.
Okay.
And so summertime was fabulous. You spend every hour with them. Maybe you get a little bit of couple time, but then school's back in session. Your kids are off at college. And you're like, okay, now what?
So, and Viviana, so you just said the first tip is to try to rediscover, who you are and what really you're all about. What's a way to do that? I mean, do you get back into going to the gym, or do you meet the ladies for lunch? What?
First things first, try to figure out what your body needs. Do you have an urge to get out on your own? Do you want me time? Do you want to volunteer? Do you want to spend time with adults? Really go with what it is that you're really wanting. And part of the question is, figure out who your identity is. If it's number one, first and foremost, nearly 90% to be a parent, that's not balanced.
Okay.
It's important, but it's not balanced. Remember, you're probably also a partner to someone. You might be working with others. And parenting is part of it, but you're also a daughter, you're also a sister, and all those relationships deserve your time and energy.
Oh, I mean,
Interesting.
What about people who just feel so overwhelmed that it's almost like they fall into a depression, like they end up just staying home? Is there a way to counteract that?
For sure. I think that if you're experiencing a long-term feeling of just being down, not really caring about much, kind of feeling stuck, maybe feeling like, well, I was going to go do this, but I found myself in my pajamas in bed all day long, and that happens for days and days. Get out there, talk to someone, talk to a therapist, talk to a friend, talk to a mother whose life you think is more balanced, and ask them for some tips. It's probably not 100% balanced, but it might be a little bit better than yours as far as time and energy goes.
I think that's smart.
I think what you just said is really interesting
Look at you.
because we all know I was raised by a single mom. I talk about it all the time on the show. She's been on the show. And I think for a lot of parents whose sole identity, as you mentioned, or their full-time job, we know being a parent is one of the hardest jobs out there. It's okay to not feel guilty, I think, is what I'm hearing you're saying.
It's definitely, guilt is something that most parents experience when they're focusing on themselves. It is absolutely okay to do that. And guess what? When the kids are off at school, there shouldn't be any guilt. Take care of your own needs so that when they are back from school, you can be refreshed, you can be refocused. Maybe they need help with homework, maybe they need time to go shopping with you. Dinner time's always a great time to really refocus on the family. But when they're away, don't pine after them. Clean that closet, do things that make you feel good. Go out, go work out, go hang out with your girlfriends, maybe even have lunch with your husband.
Perfect. So you're saying balance is key.
Balance is key.
That's perfect. I love it. Thank you for that.
thank you so
It's always
much.
very helpful.
Yeah.
To keep up with Dr. Viviana, visit texasrelationshiptherapy.com. Thanks, Dr. Vivian.
All right, and coming up next, lifestyle expert Kristen Pulpin is going to join us with some DIYs to glam up your home on the cheap. We'll be right back.